part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action. This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Worldwide. You're listening to the Krypton Report.
June is fast approaching, and that is not only Superman Day, but it's also the 10th anniversary of Man of Steel. Check out our website on Facebook for the information to join, as we will be updating it, our live Man of Steel rewatch. We'll be streaming, and we'll be making an online party to rewatch Man of Steel. So please add that to your calendar. And remember,
look up in the sky.
And now, part 2 of our live stream that we had, our live show, with a bonus audio of a video I created on my theory for Flash. So enjoy.
We get the Clark and Lois.
I meant that's what I have for this, but
Gotcha.
For that, I meant the next big thing. Jeez, tongue-tied here. Is Pia.
The large overarching plot of this episode, which actually impacts the next episode.
Yeah, Pia and Lana have bonded. Or not Lana, Lois. I'm done. I'm leaving. Bye.
Okay, Pia and Lois have bonded. They're friends. She feels really bad for trying to prod Pia for any information on Bruno.
And not just cancer friends, as she refers to. She wants to be friends.
Yeah.
She even says about bringing her family to the farm. Invites them. And
which they bring another joke back that I like, where Clark isn't very good on the grill, but his burgers are okay.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a very good cook.
Which it was funny earlier when Kyle was like, "You put any rub on these ribs?"
Yeah.
And what we find so Lois is there. Clark's investigating. He confronts Bruno as Clark, as a reporter. And I do want a side note. I am sad as much time as we spent in Metropolis. We have not gone back to the Daily Planet. Like, who owns the Daily Planet now? Like, who's in charge?
They work at the Gazette. They own the Gazette.
I know, but I'm like,
because
Morgan Edge owned the Daily Planet, who was Clark's brother, who's no longer there. So what happened to the Daily Planet? Just throwing that out there, okay?
And we find out in the next episode that Luthor is in prison.
So
he's still making money, but he's in prison.
So who owns anything basically? And the other thought is, we've been in Metropolis and we haven't seen Bibbo yet. I'm just saying, okay, I'm a little frustrated we haven't got any more like callbacks, okay, to Metropolis. But Clark has this awesome argument that he gets into about the treatment and the hospital's history to Bruno, and Bruno's getting front. He goes, and Bruno, he says, Clark tells him, like, is killing people to save one person worth it? And Bruno's basically, when we're talking about your wife, he is very angry. And Clark pauses and is like, are we sure we're talking about my wife? Then we have a beautiful shot scene of Pia and Lois sitting there. And they made up because Lois had offended Pia with all her questions about Bruno and accusations on Bruno. And what we have is Bruno walking in
with Clark.
Clark. And Lois is like caught off guard at first, but then she realizes that Pia is Bruno's wife.
Yeah.
And that Bruno has done everything in this hospital, and everything he has done is to save her from her cancer.
So it was the prior episode, right, where we got the reveal that Pia was
Bruno's wife. To us. Yes.
Well, no, the masked the masked assassin.
Oh, yeah.
It was the end of the last episode, right? Not
yes.
This one. Okay. So, and it was just today when we were watching that, like, her name's Pia. Like, of course she's onomatopoeia. I didn't even think of it.
That's what he said. He said, of course she's onomatopoeia. You get it, right? I go, what? He's like, she's Pia.
Onomatopoeia.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, right? Yeah. When, like, so easy, like, it should just smack you in the face, but it was like...
It's kind of like D. Bloom.
Yeah.
And then the episode ends where... So this was Pia's last treatment. She's home with Bruno. And then who should arrive but their child?
Their son.
And their son whose name happens to be Mateo. Man,
yeah. Yeah.
I almost thought at one point that maybe because we find out that this is kind of rolling into the next episode that Bruno had kept his marriage secret, that maybe Mateo never took his father's last name.
Oh, he's not Mateo Mannheim.
Yeah, like because I kind of want because I figured like there may have been something where John Henry may like being the kind of person he is and the dad he is, looking into Mateo may have like who is this kid, and it came up Mateo, whatever Pia's name. Anamana. So
Mateo Anamana.
So I had that thought because I feel like John would have like really like researched whatever boy his daughter was going with.
That seems very plausible.
And Jania and I picked this, it made sense. And this is rolling into the next episode as well. I like that Mateo's not a plant.
Yeah.
Like he genuinely, because like I told James, what I realized is Bruno did not know about Natalie. Because this Earth's John Henry never had a Natalie. So when he says, I know your family and all this, like he knew about like John's sister, his mom, his dad.
Yeah, all of John Henry's family on this Earth.
So there really wasn't a flag as to Natalie being John Henry's daughter.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to roll into season 3, episode 8. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Which is a play off the old movie, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Clark and Chrissy try to pique Lois's interest in investigating Bruno, while Jordan inevitably threatens John standing with the fire department. And Nat has a dinner. So
Nat goes to dinner with Mateo and his parents.
So, small story. Basically, John is now part of the junior fire department. He shows up, with coffee, but they all clap him in. And that he's now part of the junior fire department. There's a call. He asked Mr. Cushing if he could go. Mr. Cushing's like, yep, come on. And
says, you can go, but stay next to the truck.
And he
can't be involved. You can only watch.
So he goes. And he's by the truck. And what happens is Jordan flies in, saves the dude, busts out the door, and leaves a guy. Well, John's checking the guy as Kyle and them come running out. And, Kyle yells at him saying, why did you go into the fire? I can't trust you. You're a liability. It all felt kind of clunky, I'll be honest. But I understand the point. Because one, John has no mask.
Yeah.
Two, if you look at how that door came off, that door came out.
Oh, yeah.
So John would have had to try to get in and couldn't have blown that door out in any way. But it puts John in a place where now, he may be let go from the fire department, which is his big thing. Jump to later, Jordan and Jonathan get in an argument, and Jordan yells at Jonathan about he was saving a guy who's trying to do what's right, but he yells at him like, I have heat vision and you don't.
Yeah, basically he can be the only hero because he's the only one with powers.
Yep, very douchey. And then at the end, their next big interaction is he apologizes to John. And John's still not sure if he's going to be fired, but what he finds out is Mr. Cushing, they found evidence of ice.
In the fire, which there was ice at the fire where Kyle almost died.
So he's putting things together that there might be some superpowered person putting them out. And 2 times, Jonathan references Jordan as Superboy, which is kind of cool because they officially are giving him that moniker. Mm-hmm. And we see Jordan and Sarah hanging out together, just as friends.
Yeah,
because that's a thing.
They're hanging out. They're listening to The Cure.
Because stepping up, Lana has Cure tickets that she had for her and Kyle, but she's trying to get rid of.
Yes.
So she tries to give him to Chrissy to take Kyle, but she can't. Chrissy's got things going on. Clark can't because
which is a fun scene, fun interaction.
It was hilarious. We watched it. It was me, James, Jamie, and Jania, and it's great because Clark's acting. He's sitting. He's like, I didn't even use the super thing. I could hear your heartbeat, how nervous you are when Lana was around.
Right.
And I told James, I'm like, okay, The Cure, like that's like more of an '80s band. Because Lana says hearing their stuff took her back to high school.
Well, I mean, I was a '90s and a 2000s teenager Like, but I listen to music from the 80s. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah, the way she talks about the Cure is like as if they were like the band of the time.
oh, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, so I would put them graduating. I think. Okay, we're talking about our timelines. Do they talk about what year they graduate in the scene where Clark leaves in the flashback and then he comes back?
Ooh, I'd have to check it out. I don't recall anything about them saying like we graduated this time or
But I was trying to remember if there was any evidence of like when he leaves, when we see the young actor as Clark, and
Right.
he leaves, he's talking to Martha and like he goes away. Because in my mind, I'm putting them graduating like in 1999, 2000, because that'd be, that'd put them at 42.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so if it was like modern time and it was like 23, you'd have to take away at least maybe 25 years down to like 18. So yeah, maybe
Because I graduated
1998 graduation.
I graduated in 2003. I'm 38.
Yeah.
My cousin graduated in 99. She's 4 years older than me, so that puts her at 42. So I'm thinking, they graduated in 98, 99, 2000.
Right.
That puts them in those.
I think before 2000, but pretty
Yeah.
pretty late 90s.
Yeah.
98, 99.
Yeah, to get them over that 40 hump that we were
Yeah.
talking about. But so Lois is trying to Lana's trying to give away these tickets to the Cure, and Sarah's like, I don't really know their music, which I would say is wrong because as much as emo and everything Sarah was earlier, the Cure is like that proto emo band that even if you were like Dashboard Confessional, My Chemical Romance person, you're like the Cure.
Right.
Like, you knew them and you knew enough of their
I
songs.
was going to say what, like 311
They
covered the song.
They slayed awesome that love song cover. Like I love the 311 cover.
Yeah.
So, Jordan points out to Sarah that basically the going to the concert with your mom is not about the music. And Sarah's like, yeah, it is. He's like, it's about spending time with your mom.
Yeah.
So at the end of the episode, we see them kind of dancing to some Cure music.
That was actually really good, though. That interaction in the kitchen, she's like, look at it from John's point of view and see why this could be a problem for him. And then he turns around and says, well, look at this from your mom's point of view. It's about the time with you. And then she's like, are you trying to make me feel guilty? Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoosh. And he's gone.
Oh, yeah. He just. Speaking of, earlier in the episode, which was great, was Clark and Chrissy are now investigating the Mannheim stuff. Lois doesn't want to because she, befriended Pia. And Chrissy's like, is anyone going to fly? And Clark flies Chrissy to Metropolis. And when they get back later, she's like, she's like having this like, I think I'm going to throw up, but like I learned how to hold my stuff in college.
Yeah. So if there's one thing I learned in college, it's how to rally.
And it was hilarious. Just seeing them two work together was nice. Showing that kind of bond. Like,
yeah, you never see that. He works there. He's part of the Gazette.
We speculated how we think that Chrissy would have been Chloe had that name not been tarnished before.
Yeah.
So in my head, they're very similar, but they're not the same.
Right.
So we have that going on. And then what we have, they have this article that they're ready to roll with about Bruno, and it's outing that he has his secret wife, and Lois doesn't want to do it. And then Sam shows up with tons of files from Diggle from Argus, and they really get into the nitty gritty of the murders that are connected to Bruno. And Lois says, if I would have had these files years ago, I could have put him away. And they get into it, and it really sparks Lois's journalism side again. And Clark and Lois have this really good conversation about their responsibility as journalists and what to do.
Yeah, actually, that was a part in this episode I was worried about. Was like, are they gonna? It's just something that you're worried about watching these shows. Like, when somebody turns, like last episode, it was very touching.
You see
Pia and Bruno and Clark and Lois all kind of together under this common trouble.
Of like human emotions. Like,
yeah.
It's like for a moment, we've put aside all our fighting because we share a moment as humans, as people. But the idea being like,
after that's over, is Clark going to be like,
It's back.
it's back on. We got to do this. And he wasn't mean about it. You know, I don't expect Clark to be mean or anything, but he wasn't like really like pushing her hard to do it. You know, it was very, very kind, very respectful to his wife about how she's feeling, about how she doesn't want to do this because she's friends with Pia. It was a very genuine interaction on his part as to, well, we do know that he's this gun runner, that he's this arms dealer and all this other stuff, that he's still a bad person, that he still is a criminal, and that we still need to pursue this.
Yeah.
So it was very well handled.
I think the best representation of that same kind of mindset in this episode is, and we're going to get there here now, is basically John Henry drops Nat off to go have dinner with Mateo's family.
Yeah, and actually that's the flip side. That's totally opposite of what Clark does.
And so Mateo, like, they're having a great time. We see Bruno in this good light and how much he's having fun as a father, and, you know, all of them are having a good dinner. John, meanwhile, visits his sister, and they have this kind of understanding, like, how they both recognize they miss each other's counterpart. And she thanks him for, you know, installing the security stuff for her family. He's like, you know, I'm very surprised they didn't do an episode that was just John Henry centered.
Yeah.
Of him doing all that security stuff, telling more of his backstory, and we learn more about this world's John Henry.
Right. In that scene, the thing I liked was he said, "My mess," and his sister was like, "Not your mess, my brother's mess."
Yes,
my brother's mess is what's got you into this.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really good. I like that part.
And so, basically, pulling that around, she asks about Nat. And he says the restaurant's name. She goes, "That's where my brother used to meet Bruno Mannheim." So then, boom, John Henry's out of there. We cut back to the dinner, and it's framed really well of where everybody's sitting. You see the door, and like I generally had like aspiration, and he comes in, and Nat just says, "Dad," and they all turn around, and then you see like everyone else in the restaurant.
I like Mateo goes like, "Hey, your dad's here."
Yeah, he has no idea. So once again, Mateo genuinely is just an innocent bystander, honestly. And we see that everyone in the restaurant basically is like personnel of Bruno Mannheim's.
Yeah.
Because they all get up, they're pulling guns. And Bruno says, Natalie, is this your father? She's like, yes. And then Bruno, this is where it shows that he's a bad dude.
Yeah.
Because I said to Jania, like, you would think they'd almost be like, oh, we gotta, all right, just take your daughter and go. Like,
squash this.
Like, peace, like, real quick, take your daughter, go. We didn't know. You didn't, like, but no, Bruno's like, he starts, they pull the guns. He's like, I told you what would happen if you came back around here.
Yeah.
He's like, take the kids outside to one of his henchmen. He starts rapping, knocking around his knuckles where he has big rings. Come on. What? I can't do that because that's copyright infringement.
We're live.
We're live.
Well, he's only 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. We just ran over. Hey guys, it's Brian. Look, Brian's here.
Hello,
people.
So, Brian, welcome.
Oh, hey, man.
We just got held back because we're live. Who cares? Surprise! It's Jamie's birthday, so Jania went out to get her a cake and everything. Just kind of
she went out, pushed it all back a little bit.
Yeah, so we didn't want to start until after she got back with the cake. We're wrapping up.
Well,
Good to see you,
I
buddy.
just want to play freaking Zelda. That's all I wanted.
Well, we're glad you're here. We're almost done.
Go ahead. We'll catch up with you.
Yeah, you can hang out with us.
How's it going, Brian? Boys.
We're glad you're here.
Sorry for breaking the law.
No, you're fine. I just have to edit. It's not a big deal. Live is one thing, but when I put it up, it comes up.
So what are we talking about?
We're finishing up this past week, Superman Lois.
What's this past week?
We're at the dinner scene.
No, I didn't.
All right, well then.
Yeah.
You're going to get spoiled. Yeah, you don't want to get spoiled. It's really good.
James
We're
didn't get to watch
finishing
it till today because Amazon.
Yeah, it's not up on Prime. The new episode isn't on Prime yet. I don't know why.
I couldn't buy it.
I couldn't buy it all week. I know. I know.
Superman sucks.
Get out of here.
Oh no! What happened? Brian's being sent to the Phantom Zone.
Right?
Brian,
Does it say where's the projector?
Yeah.
Hey.
I'll just be sitting with Monel, chugging beers. I'll be all right.
All right. Well, we've done like 5 minutes. This is the fun of live, people. You never know who's just going to show up at your house. Yeah.
Right.
Bye,
Yeah.
buddy. Hope you find your dad.
Yeah. You help me out with that? Mr. Narwhal, thanks. That's why live is, we do it once a month because I couldn't handle this all the time.
But yeah, it is a big difference.
Because
you know, Bruno straight is like,
He straight up
pulls guns in front of the kids, has his bodyguard take the kids out with guns.
he has no respect the fact that John had no idea
Yeah.
that their kids were together. Because, like I said, can I say that to Jania? Like, you would think they would have backed off. Like, we got to undo that. Like, just go.
Yeah.
And she goes, no, that's not who Bruno is.
No.
So that shows right there that this whole like good person that we had that moment with Clark and Lois and Pia.
It's only good to the people he cares about.
Right.
So, only good to the people he cares for.
And then all of a sudden we see John's suit. Like he had hit the thing. John's suit busts in. And Pia, like, it's really weirdly creepy to see her do her power without the mask.
Right.
How it's just like, it's very like her face, like the actress, mad props to her. She sells it. Like,
Yeah.
The mouth. And
Yeah, she contorts pretty good.
Like, and like the suit's taking it and we see it's wearing her down. But then like she goes to like, she has a moment of reprieve and like, we see this awesome shot of how the suit goes on John and he's just walking.
Yeah.
And then Clark hears it and basically
right after he hears what's happening with John Henry, right after they discover on a recorded tape of Lex Luthor supposedly confessing to killing Moxie and all of the 86ers in South Metropolis, they hear the same buzzing, the same noise that comes when Onomatopoeia does her sound. And we've already seen that she can mimic voices,
sounds with
sound,
voices
yeah.
of sound.
And so they find
I'm not
out
even
that
talking
this
right
assassin, yeah, that's me. This assassin,
Yes, it is.
you recorded the recorded confession of Lex. So they find out that they put Lex away for crimes he didn't commit.
Which is a great way of getting Lex in here without feeling shoehorned.
Absolutely.
Like it just
Absolutely.
unravels from the mystery.
And it actually steps up Bruno too as a big villain, because not only is he just like this guy of inner gang and he's just another crime boss, like he helped put Lex Luthor in prison so he could have Metropolis.
Yep.
Like that makes him a big time villain in DC. Ooh, hey.
Even Alora's back. She's like, hey.
Hi.
So basically Superman shows up to protect John as his suit's getting damaged, and Pia pushes herself to the limit to where she passes out, and Superman looks at Bruno and says, I have to take her to the hospital. And Bruno gives him like the nod, and boom, he's gone with her. And it was really good. And then Bruno tells John to leave. I'm surprised John didn't just like punch him in his face with the suit on.
I know, right? Fly past him, deck him, and then grab Natalie and go.
Yeah.
He should have.
And
Did you guys talk about the Flash yet?
no, because James hasn't watched any of it.
Oh.
So
Well,
You talking about the final season?
spoiler alert, Barry runs fast.
No way.
Barry runs fast.
Yes, wait, Ted.
You heard it here first, people.
Say hi, Brian.
She remembers Brian. She's like, she didn't remember me. Sad kids. But anyways, the episode ends. Pia is an artist, and Mateo is mad at his dad.
And they inject something into her vocal cords to control her power.
And we see John takes Nat's phone. Nat's heartbroken. And John's suit getting damaged. I literally said to Jania, like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And she's like, why? I'm like, he's got to fix it. Maybe he'll make it better and it just won't look like Master Chief.
Right.
Maybe we'll get a little bit more of a look and Steel suit. And,
Hopefully.
Who's Steel?
he's this guy that helps Superman. You wouldn't know. You only read Batman. So
Yeah.
That's not true.
that's true. That's right. You also read Marvel.
That's not true.
Oh, we gotta get out of here.
Great episode.
Great episode.
Great couple of episodes. Really.
This season's been the best, and the writing has been so top notch that
I even like where they have her and he's telling Clark like they're still bad people, and you need to remember that. Just because she has cancer and she became friends with Lois doesn't mean she's not a bad person. We actually seen in the episode where they revealed who she was. She killed everybody. She's a killer. She's a cold-blooded killer.
She is Bruno's assassin. Without her, without them as a power couple, he wouldn't have rose to the power that he has.
Yeah.
So even though he has good intentions and does some good things, he's still a bad guy.
You know what's really good about that
and
show?
we get this,
What?
and you know what?
What, Brian? Tell us.
Is that everything you think is going to happen does not happen that way.
Yes.
They
That's
do
why
some
when
really
we,
good things.
when we do guess something, much like the sun, we feel good about it. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're like, we finally figured something out.
And something right in our face
You didn't realize
we
that
didn't
the tail was the
realize
sun?
until...
Oh, we figured it out.
I knew. Like,
No,
right away,
but
man.
what was right in our face is her name's Pia, and she's Automatopoeia.
Son of a bitch.
See?
He pointed it out to me, and I was like, huh. Now I want to go back and like see when they say her name, but
Right? But how far before the reveal?
Well, I feel pretty damn stupid.
The one really cool thing, and it's the nice little tag we go out on before the episode ends. Bizarro opens his eyes.
and that's why I say they're saving the budget. It's a roll into that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get out of here. We've been live. It's crazy. It's dinner time. Brian's here. What's up? Fist bump. And
Live for a while.
Yeah.
Normally we have technical problems on my end, and it screws us up for going out this long.
So we're gonna end it here. Have fun, everybody. Good night. We're going to press pause and hear a few words from our other podcasts on Press Play Podcast Network.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us and then listen in.
Before we start this episode of Krypton Report, I want to take a moment and just give a shout out here to our Patreon. I know what you're thinking. Gosh, everyone's asking for money, and I get it. But our Patreon is only $1. $1 a month. It helps us keep the podcast going. And what we do is we try to find interesting shows and topics and whatever we want to talk about. We've done, as of this little thing, our last recordings were on the Scream series. Brian and Tyler, that's me, do our own show where we record in the car, and it's kind of funny. And we talk about pop culture or whatever is going on. We also have the Supernatural podcast we've been reworking. It's taken some time just because of life. But we do movie commentaries as well. It's something that James and I have done, what we used to do on the main show that we've started doing here. So for $1 a month on our Patreon, you can get those shows. There's at least 4 a month. Also, there's my movie pitch show that I do. But also, what we want is if you're a Patreon, you can come on. You can come on the main show if you want. Or if there's something you want to come on and talk about, we can do it as a Patreon special. So all I want is for $1 a month, think about chipping in, joining our Patreon, and you have a voice to be a part of things. Follow the link in the link tree or in the show notes below, patreon.com/Krypton Report.
If you are like Tyler and James and can't get enough super talk, check out these other podcasts. Digging for Kryptonite, Supergirl Radio, The Last Sons of Krypton, The Superboy Legacy Podcast, All-Star Superfans, Superman the Animated Podcast, The Aspiring Kryptonians, Always Hold On to Smallville, The Geek of Steel, and Truth, Justice, and Hope.
Remember to check out Krypton Report on all social media platforms. Go to linktree.com/Krypton Report. You find out all of our report.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
Hey everybody, Tyler here. I'm making this video because I am a visual person, but I was also thinking about something after watching the trailers with Solomon and everything for the Flash movie about what might be happening. So follow along with my logic here, okay? So what we're looking at here is we're going to call this WB Earth. Okay? Now this is a post-crisis Earth. This is where the movie takes place. This is where we had Aquaman. This is where the Flash starts. Whatever version of Justice League they subscribe to, and we'll talk about that in a minute. This is where the Flash starts, okay? Now, in the movie, we're introduced to another Flash, okay? And what I'm trying to figure out is how this works. So, in one trailer, it talks about, and this is theory one, that Barry travels back in time, and by doing that, creates kind of a flashpoint, right? And by doing so is when we get what I've heard called Young Barry, okay, which is the non-powered Barry. And in that world, we get Kara instead of Kal-El, okay? So when Zod shows up, we have original Barry, which I'm going to put OG Barry, Young Barry, who he has to give powers to, and now Kara instead of Kal-El. So he changed the timeline. Okay, so that's we're working on theory one. First point is, how does Zod get there? Because in Man of Steel, Zod shows up because Kal-El activates the scout ship, and Zod senses the beacon. So how does Zod get there? The other point that I'm wondering is, how does Keaton's Batman exist? Okay, so if he just changed time, is Keaton replacing Affleck on WB Earth? And why would he be older? With the built-in history. Okay? Now, the clues are in, it says, Young Barry, I broke time, I changed time. Now, theory number 2 is OG Barry from here travels to what I will just for now call Earth 89 or Earth 92 for Batman Returns. Okay? In the first trailer, he talks about this is the only universe where my mom didn't die. This would explain Keaton. Okay? It could also explain Kara, that Kara landed here instead of Kal-El being an alternate Earth, that there's no metahumans. Okay? And it also explains why Barry's mom's alive, and he has no powers. But my question is, why would Zod come to this Earth then, if Zod's supposed to be attacking the original Earth, replacing Man of Steel? So, does that mean that Barry travels to this parallel Earth through the Speed Force? Okay? Because we saw in Crisis that he was in the Speed Force jumping around where he met Grant Gustin's Flash. Okay? And it's supposed to be kind of a multiverse film. So that would explain Keaton, Kara, and then Zod being here is kind of a question mark, unless this Earth experienced something similar, but once again, why is Zod there? Or did he go to this Earth, found that his mom was alive here, goes back to his Earth, realizes he screwed up, and there is no Batman or anybody on this Earth, and he brings Keaton to this Earth with him. I know, it's enough to make your head go crazy, but the weirdest part about the whole thing for me is the fact that how do you get an older history Batman to replace Affleck if you're just on this Earth? Now, Solomon has a question. Yes, Solomon.
My question is, I think I know what Zod did. I think this universe is actually Barry time traveled back, and like what happens was there's no Superman, and it was like what happened if Zod went to this Earth, and that's what they were explaining. So I think why Zod went to that Earth is he destroyed an Earth. Now this Earth he can destroy, but there's no metahumans on the Earth. like before he went to this Earth, he destroyed this Earth, and like you know what? And then Zod brings some metahumans, and he brings Keaton, and then Affleck and the original Barry is there, and there's another Barry in this universe, and then we have Barry going to time for. Kara lands on this Earth, and Superman lands on that Earth, and they both split apart. And Barry time travels back to that Earth, and now they have in the Earth, and they have to fight Zod because Barry time traveled back where Zod was trying to destroy the universe. Which before he tried to destroy that universe, he destroyed that universe. So Barry actually fixed things.
Could be.
And also, I think that's why that. And his mom is still alive. I think this is a past universe.
Okay. I like everything he said. Now, here's a couple points I want to add to this real quick. One, is it continued from Zack Snyder's Justice League or Warner Brothers, what we like to call Justice League? The biggest thing that I'm going to throw out there is how they handle time travel. Because in Justice League, Flash was pointless. He was worthless. He didn't do anything. And since this new film focused on some sort of time travel and traveling in the Speed Force, he did time travel here. So how they handle the you've done this before, you've done more, and also the big thing is that we talked about on the podcast is his yellow lightning means that he's gotten more powerful. And Zack Snyder's Justice League proves that he gets more powerful. In the trailer, okay, because one scene that we need to see in this film is in the trailer we see where he gets struck by lightning through him to the other Barry. Now that's either younger Barry or what I call Earth 2 Barry or this Earth Barry. Okay? So, but we also see a scene where it looks like him strapped down getting his powers again. Okay? So hold on and think with me. Getting his powers again. Because if yellow lightning is where he starts, and that's him leveled up, how is there a scene in the trailer where he's looking, this Barry, is looking at his mom, but he has blue lightning? So, does he lose his power somehow? And then has to get them back, much like in the Flashpoint comic and film, and that's the scene where we see him like looks like he's laying down, recreating the experiment. Because the other thing is, this Barry, no matter which Justice League you follow, just started working in a crime lab. That means that he must have been working at his school's laboratory when the accident happened that gave him his powers in the first place. And we've not seen that. And it looks like we're going to see that scene when he helps give powers to the other Barry. So this is my brain trying to figure out what all is going to go on, because I'm a continuity person and I'm trying to make sense. Solomon has another question.
Okay, my question is, I think I know how Barry got the yellow lightning, and I know how the other Barry 2, also known as Young Barry, got it.
Batberry. Batberry. We'll call him Batberry.
Yeah, that's really cool.
He's wearing the Batman suit as the Flash, so Batflash.
Batflash. Let's do Batflash. I think I know how. Got my idea.
Yeah, shoot it.
In the movie, you see some clips of Kara bringing the Flash up, and he's yelling with blue lightning all around. What I think is, guys, you gotta trust me on this. Alright. What happens is we have the first fight with Zod.
Okay.
We have the fight with Zod, and then Zod accidentally he like took Barry's powers away from him, and then they have like, and then Tara brings him up and gives him more power, yellow power, which makes him have the yellow lightning bolts. That, Dad, you can bring your figure over here, and you will see that he has yellow lightning bolts. And his suit changed, if you realize, in the movie. Because, if you see the figure, his suit's different.
So what we're saying is, we have our theories. We're both really excited. We can't wait to find out what's really going on. And how this time travel / multiverse hopping is going to work.
And I have one more thing.
Yes, Solomon.
I know how young Barry, which we used to call him Barry too, I call him Barry too. I know how Barry too got his powers.
Okay.
When Supergirl saved Barry, I think Barry too got, like, somehow, when Supergirl punches Zod in the trailer, Barry too gets the blue lightning. Because if you see, like, when they're running together and their foot get together, and like, they both, the lightning hits the ground and it's moving, I think that's how Barry too got his powers, and how Barry got his yellow lightning powers.
All right. So good theory. But that's where our head's at. Thanks for watching our video. Like I said, I'm a visual person, and it's a little easier to kind of write out here on the whiteboard here in the super room, the Hall of Justice, because pass through it. So remember.
Look up in the sky.
We just want to say, if you've enjoyed this podcast, please check out other podcasts on the Press Play Podcast Network. $1 a month, you'll get extra special content that you don't get on the main show, like movie commentaries and whatever else comes out of our mouths. So check it out, patreon.com/Krypton.